What is up, everyone? Jay here with another Fire Emblem Heroes video, and today we're going to take a look at this month's legendary hero, which is male Alear. So Engage is going strong. I love to see it. I just didn't expect male Alear to get his so soon, especially when you consider the fact that male Corrin and male Shez fans have been waiting for a long time for theirs. I mean, especially male Corrin fans, because legendary female Corrin happened years ago, and they're still waiting for the male Corrin legendary, and then male Alear just comes in, kind of skips the line and gets his. I mean, it makes sense because he is from the most recent game, and we just had an engaged banner, but still, I feel for male Corrin fans. So hopefully you guys get your male legendary alt later this year, because I was honestly expecting male Corrin to be on this banner, but it ended up being Alear. So yeah, Alear is here, and this time he is a Earth legendary and a colorless dragon infantry compared to his female counterpart, who is a green infantry dragon and a fire legendary. So he's similar to her in a lot of ways, but he's also very different, and he can do a lot of stuff that she cannot. So we'll take a look at his kit. He's pretty crazy. As you can see by the battle forecast, he can quad. So of course he has the scroll effect, or the brave effect, should I say. The scroll weapon with the brave effect, or the gauntlets, should I say. But it's not really gauntlets because it's still a breath technically. We may never get gauntlets in FEH, but this is the closest thing, I guess, right now. So Divine One's Arts is a weapon. -1 cooldown, brave effect in both phases at the start of combat if he's alive. +5 to all the stats, and a -X debuff on the foe to all their stats during combat. X equals the number of distinct game titles among allies within 3 spaces of unit times 3 + 4, maximum 10. So this makes both Alears very strong and very bulky, deceptively, honestly, because they can get a lot of stat debuffs, and it just depends on the number of characters that are from different games from them, which is not very hard at all because FEH has a lot of variety when it comes to the Fire Emblem games. So that's very easy to get those stat debuffs. And then of course he can have damage reduction, because why not? This is really good because he doesn't have to run magical no follow-up or whatever. I mean, I guess you don't really have to use it because you have the brave effect, but still being able to pierce through DR is always nice. And then he also has the scowl effect, because why not? I mean, it makes sense, he's a dragon, but this is amazing because you don't have to run veil support, or you don't have to run the scowl effect in the A slot. So having scowl is going to make him a better tank. Of course, that's really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple weapon, but it's very good. And then Dragon's Roar is a special. Boosts special damage by 40% of units res when special triggers, if unit or foe special is ready, or if unit or foe special triggered before or during this combat, and also if unit's res is greater than or equal to foe's res -4 during combat, reduce damage from the foe's next attack by 40% once per combat, excluding AoEs. So Dragon's Roar gives him damage reduction, and this is unpierceable because you can you can't pierce through specials, because pierceable DR is going to be from non-special stuff, just like it says in his weapon here. So Dragon's Roar is pretty good for that damage reduction and also boosting it by your res. But I'd say it's still not as good as Dragon's Blast compared to his female counterpart, because female counterpart can provide that support, giving the ally, whoever she summoner supported with, or should I say ally supported with, that damage reduction piercing when they trigger the special, which is amazing and something that no one else can really do. And Dragon's Roar is good, but we've seen this before. Armored Floor kind of does this, and you can have there's a lot of unpierceable DR specials. So I'd say Dragon Blast is better overall. That's the one thing legendary female Alear has over this one, but still Dragon's Roar is pretty good, of course, for male Alear here. And also Dragon's Blast boosting it by your speed is 50% of your speed is a lot. I'd say that's better than boosting it by 40% of your res. And then Emblem of Miracle is his A slot. This is a crazy skill, but it does have counterplay, which we'll get into. But this gives him distant counter, because why not? +9 to all stats, because why not? And then you can also reduce damage from the foe's first attack by 40%, so even more damage reduction. This is of course pierceable, but it's still damage reduction at the end of the day. And of course it includes brave hits. And then if the number of allies within 3 spaces of unit is greater than or equal to 3 and foe initiates combat, and if unit's HP is greater than 1 and foe would reduce the unit's HP to 0, aka killing them during combat, unit survives with 1 HP and after combat restores 99 HP to unit. Effect only triggers for player's team once per map and does not stack with non-special effects that allow unit to survive with 1 HP if foe's attack would reduce HP to 0. So this is just like, pretty sure it's just like Fallen Maria's staff, because this gives you the healing just like Fallen Maria, and of course the miracle effect. It does not stack and only works once per map, so it's it's balanced, I guess, in that aspect. But this is still really good for an omni tank like Alear, because you can survive, cheat death, and then restore a ton of HP. So you don't have to run Fallen Maria, I guess, and you can just have this along with this encounter and +9 to all your stats and damage reduction. However, there is counterplay, like I said, and that is Fatal Smoke 4. So Fatal Smoke 4 stocks are going up because, for example, if someone's using Male Alear to Omni Tank and Aether Rays, and they want to use this to just sweep everything, which they definitely can, you can just have a unit with Fatal Smoke and then stop the healing and stop the Miracle. Even Fatal Smoke 3 would work because that can at least stop the healing, and they would still have the Miracle, but they'd be susceptible because they won't restore all that HP. So Fatal Smoke 4 or 3 is going to be useful to counter this A slot. So honestly, it's very good, but I don't think it's that overpowered. I mean, I guess Fatal Smoke isn't that common, so there's that argument as well. But Fatal Smoke can still, just shut this down for the most part. So that's something to keep in mind. And then Speed Res Bulwark 4 is his B slot. We've seen this before, or the attack defense version, I think. Who had it? Someone recently had it. I forget what unit had it, but this gives you the Bulwark effect, of course, -4 Speed Res debuff and 40% damage reduction. So even more DR for Alear here. And then Attack Speed Pledge is the C skill, which is just like his female counterpart. So like I said, similar but also very different because female Legendary Alear doesn't have this A slot, this crazy A slot. So yeah, that's male Alear's kit. Pretty simple overall. It's nothing that crazy, I'd say. I mean, he's going to be one of the best Omni tanks for sure. And being Carless is going to help him because he's not really weak to anything except for Raven Tomes. But Raven Tomes are pretty much hella outdated now. So yeah, he's going to be a really good tank for sure. One of the best dragons. And, compared to female Alear, at least female Alear has that support with the Dragon Blast. So she's going to always be good. So, and I have a +3 Legendary Alear myself, so at least I can take solace in that. But, I mean, they're both Alears at the end of the day, but obviously they're both very different. So, male Alear, definitely one of the best Omni tanks. You can argue, though, that, his release is not the greatest for him because of how hard it is to tank nowadays because of all the chip damage cheese, the nukes in general that can pierce through damage reduction. But Alear definitely has the tools to tank better than a lot of other units, and especially because of his Miracle thing. As you can see right here, Golvik is going to try and nuke him, and he's going to survive with 1 and then heal all the way back up. But like I said, Fatal Smoke 4 or Fatal Smoke 3 is going to help against Alear, so I can see more teams running Fatal Smoke if Alear becomes a problem or semi-prevalent in Aether Raids and stuff. But yeah, Alear, like I said, definitely one of the best Omni tanks. Just a little bit hard for him sometimes, and just units in general to Omni tank these days, but it's kind of been up and down thanks to Emblem and stuff. So I guess it just depends what you fight. But a Flared Sparrow, that's not going to kill you, and you can just survive the actual hit with the Miracle. So that's always good, and that's going to be very useful for Alear. So let's look at the rest of the units on the banner in the Carlos pool, and the blue and the red and the green, of course. So Myr, Ninian, Legendary Ninian, and Myr, should I say, Goto, Haether, Freyr, we have Fabale. Who else we got? We got a Toon Peony, a Toon Triandra, 2 amazing dancers. We have Harkin, underrated sword infantry, Golvig, and Vasir. So pretty decent. There's a few duds in here. I think the main ones are probably Goto, as that kind of pains me to say because I am trying to +10 him. So I might make a summoning video for him. He's almost there. He needs 2 more copies. But Goto is not the greatest light mythic. He does provide good support with the AoE damage reduction, but that's not always going to be useful because if there's no AoEs, then it's not going to be the greatest. And even though he is very bulky with all his damage reduction, it's still pierceable, and he does struggle tanking some modern threats. And I can speak from experience, as a person who uses him. So he's not the greatest light mythic, even though he's like a modern magical Brave Ike. Still has the weaknesses that Brave Ike does. So he's not bad. He can definitely take hits here and there when there is no damage reduction piercing. But yeah, Goto is not the greatest light mythic. And then the other dud I'd say is Legendary Myr. Even though she does have the C skill to stop teleportation shenanigans, she's still not the greatest unit herself when it comes to her weapon. she's a bit older as a legendary, so she's still waiting for that remix and refine someday. So those are the 2 really. I guess Fabale, I'd say, I don't know, I don't have his weapon memorized off the top of my head, but Fabale does have pretty good fodder from what I remember. I think he has physical no follow-up and speed res hexblade if I remember correctly. So Fabale is a little bit underrated as a infantry archer. And then Harkin, speaking of underrated, one of the most underrated sword infantries in my opinion. He's really unique with his ability to move around and having the brave effect in his weapon. I think he's one of the better sword infantry initiators, and we don't have too many of those. Emblem Martha being the best one now, but Harkin is definitely one of the better ones. He can Gale Force as well, so I think he's definitely under the radar. And who else is kind of under the radar? No one else really. Toon Peony and Triandra are some of the best dancers in the game. Vasir is one of the best defense mythics in the game. I think I've had a lot of trouble against her. I've had to surrender a lot because she just gets so bulky and so fast, and my Winter Marks can struggle against her, especially when she's running low speed res, which most of them run, or low speed res 4. So Vasir is a menace for sure, and Golvig, her alternate version, is, I struggle less with her, but she's still threatening with Flared Sparrow, Cult of Strike, and all that chip damage stuff. So Golvig, I kind of want to pull her because Carlos has Alear, obviously, Goto, and her. I mean, I want to plus in Goto, but if I don't get Goto, I wouldn't mind getting a Golvig because I want to give a Cult of Strike to my Kadean Lind. I gave her a Devoted Basket. So with Flared Sparrow and that, I can have so much chip damage cheese, and that'd be really funny. I kind of want to use that on my Kadean Lind. So that's pretty much the main reason I want to pull Golvig again. And then green has Haether. Who else is on here? Why can I not see them? Atun Peony, of course, one of the best dancers, and Legendary Ninian. So Legendary Ninian is one of the more unique dancers because she can move again after dancing, which is really nice sometimes, but as an offensive unit, which they tried to make her when she released, she's not the hardest hitting unit. But of course, she's a dancer, so she's always going to be useful. Haether got really good thanks to the Ruse 4 skills, so she can be really good with that with her Gold Serpent skill, which is amazing. So she's a really good Astromythic. And then, of course, I just said already, Atun Peony is one of the best dancers, providing teleportation, damage reduction. She's just amazing overall. Triandra is amazing in her own right, giving chip damage, cheese, and she can also be a pretty offensive, you know, a unexpectedly good offensive flyer with her weapon and stuff. And she has the X skill with, I think, what does she have? Deathblow Echo, I think, and Flow Refresh 4, and Clash, I think. Yeah, I think that's what she has. So she's amazing fodder overall. And then did I go over everyone? Oh yeah, Freyr. How can I forget Freyr in the blue pool with Myr and Fabale? Freyr is one of the best mythics in the game, being able to cleanse any kind of penalty pretty much, except for like Schism, which is like a problem they kind of created and then a band-aid solution. But still, Freyr's, I think, always going to be good because of his ability to cleanse everything and stop Elamine from going crazy. So I think in terms of colors, I think Carlos is the best because you have Alear. Oh, I don't know. Goto, again, is kind of a dud. Carlos is pretty good. Alear is amazing, but Goto is definitely something. If you're not an Arcanea fan like me, you're probably going to try and avoid him. But he does provide Guard 4, which is a rare skill, and only like 2 units in the game have that. I think it's Legendary Female Corn after her remix and Goto. I think that's it. So I could be wrong, but I think those are the 2. There might be someone else, but Guard 4 is really rare. So you could get Goto for Guard 4. Blue has Fabale, Myr, and Freyr. Kind of a toss-up because Myr, you might not want Myr or Fabale. Those are 2 units that aren't seen as much as Freyr, so blue is probably arguably the worst color here. Green has Haether, Ninian, and Atun Peony, who honestly is amazing because you have 2 dancers. It's always good to have dancers or merges on Ninian because she is a legendary hero. And then, Atun Peony provides the X skill, I think, right? Yeah, she does. And then Haether is also an amazing Astromythic. And then we look at red, has Harkin, Underrated Sword Machine, like I said, Vasir, and Triandra. So I honestly think, blue is probably the worst. Green is probably second worst. Maybe red is second worst, honestly. I guess red and green are kind of tied. I don't know. But I think blue is the worst. Carlos is maybe the best. I don't know. Carlos, red, green, and then blue, I'd say. So that's my overall rankings on the colors. But still, it's kind of, this banner is not the greatest. Honestly, you can be saving for a Hero Rises, which is coming up soon. There's going to be spring banners coming up. So me going for Goto, which I might make a summoning video for, is kind of a risk. Hopefully I can get him pretty soon. If I have to spark him, I will. But hopefully I can finish him, or at least just get a merge. If I can get him closer to plus 10, that's still progress on him, I guess. But I'm just glad I saved ores for it. But yeah, expect that video sometime soonish, if I get to it, maybe. Hopefully. But yeah, that's my overview on the banner. Let me know what you guys think down below. Good luck if you're summoning on this. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.